Speedball time. We got a new world record for this game that we raced just yesterday. How did
Yeah, we have an unprecedented amount of knowledge for this game.
Unprecedented is a word, yeah. 30:30 is our world record time here, so we are looking pretty good there.
We've never known this much about a speed bump game. We've always just watched from the sidelines.
Yeah, that's true. So 30:30, Eric's the one who won the race last week, is ready to I'm pretty sure this is a world record, right? I haven't seen a faster one. 30:30 is the best.
Yeah, at least to our knowledge it is. I asked in the speed bump channel, it's the best we know, and unless there's, some Japanese runners who have been doing better, this is it.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and watch it. I've got it right here.
Yeah, Eric's got a 42 in the race last week, and that was a pretty tight run, or, pretty impressive, so I'm looking forward to seeing how good this one is.
It should have everything running. Nice, there it is. Okay, so we're starting this, and I have their clock here, but I'll start my own just so we have an idea of where they're at in terms of time here. It's a very loose clock compared to the one that they're running themselves, though. So yeah, this right here, this is very hard to do. I was trying to do it at first, and I gave up, and then I started to win. After I gave up on the balloon strats when I was playing this game, I spent a lot of time in World 1.
Good so far.
Oh, they have.
I committed. I committed in 6-3.
Their commentary is in this, it sounds like, but it'll be light. We're gonna be talking over it. I tried to commit to it once I figured out exactly how it worked. Like, you have to let the balloon charge up all the way, and then when the gas there starts to go back down, then you can release, and only then. Otherwise, Mickey just lets go of the balloon, and it doesn't.
The other big trick I realized was that you don't always have to let the balloon run out in its entirety. So even though you can also let it deflate a bit before you charge it, you can also release it before it's completely deflated. I figured that out during 6-3, being stuck there for like 20 minutes, but...
Yeah, you can, and it affects how far you fly. All of this is... You can see it when he dashes here. It's using fuel, basically, to jet, and once the fuel is empty, whatever that's at. So a full charge will get you further distance than half. You might not want the full charge anyway. I think a lot of the game's technique come down to not only knowing where to jump, because this game is full of blind jumps, but also learning the timing. It's a little weird to jump off a platform already charging the balloon so that it's ready before you hit the ground and die. You need to get in the habit of just preloading the balloon so that it's there for you when you want it.
Yeah, a lot of time you're charging the balloon way before it even seems like you need it, just because you need that time.
Yeah, it's almost like I always charge the Buster in Mega Man when I'm running around, and Mickey has a weapon like that that works the same way. You charge it, it does more damage. So I'm always charging that one while I'm running around. And it's a little strange to use, but he does double tap to run. He is much faster when he's doing that, but he's nowhere near as fast as what's going on here with the balloon flying stuff. This is primo technique. This is very hard to do.
He came a little close right there, down to his last balloon.
Those birds are nasty. So dying there would have reset the whole thing. We're seeing maximum lock-up damage here, I guess. This is keeping him cycled, but also giving him that 2 instead of 1 damage.
So he would have to charge it quite a bit more to get to the 2. I think the fastest strat is actually to charge it to the 1/4 point, because that's when it changes from doing 1 damage to 1.5 damage, and I think that's optimal. So like the TAS would charge it to exactly the 1/4 spot every single time.
We'll have to... 1.5 damage is a hard one to calculate. How about you just start at 2 and he does 3? That's a better number. I'm trying to represent it in my head with Link to the Past, and then I'm realizing that some enemies in that game hit for 1/16 of a heart.
Yeah.
So there are numbers there somewhere. The actual numbers are like, that enemy hits for 1, and then things hit 16 times harder than that. I did manage to kill one of these bats with the charge balloon, but I don't think that that's intended. It's not meant to work that way. It seems like nothing you can rely on, so I don't think that it's going to be a big part of anyone's strategy, but it definitely happened to me, so I think there's a way to do it. I don't understand how it happened.
Eric's did something like that in this run. He had charged with a balloon and had damaged an enemy in his way. I'm not sure that I fully understand how that works either.
That might be right there. Letting go of the balloon seems like it did damage. Maybe I let go of the balloon somehow.
Oh. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, so if you release it early, it becomes a projectile. So I guess you could time it. Like if you hit the ground, if you release it at the right time,
I'm pretty sure.
A projectile to do damage.
I'm pretty sure I dashed into him just like that right there.
Well, I'm saying that as soon as you touch the ground, Mickey starts to release it as a projectile in front of him. And so you could get pretty lucky with it. Or if you know what you're doing, you could probably use it.
So Eric's is the one, I'm pretty sure, who accidentally landed on a bird in the race and flew across it. It looks like they have decided that this is still faster. And I think that's because you spend so much time waiting on the bird, not because the bird itself is slower. I think the bird is faster than this thing, but it takes too long to set up, it looks like.
Right. Yeah, I think in the race he had moved to the left at one point and one of the birds had spawned moving right and he rode it. I don't know whether or not that'll eventually become a strategy. I don't know if anyone's taken the time to time it and see if that could be better.
Well, we're already down to just, what, less than 10 minutes slower than the task that we had in this game.
Yeah, what was the task length?
It was 20-something. Let me see, I'll check.
Glumbaron says bird is like 4 seconds faster than the minecart. The task doesn't use it.
2035 we watched. So just under 10 minutes.
Right.
I jumped over these myself. I don't think that this barrel should be used, personally. I think it's faster to just run and jump over those. So I think that is an area where there's still some room. I think that I don't have anything other than me just playing it recently to go by, but I think that what I just saw is slower than I was doing. But what I'm talking about is pretty tough, because you gotta take damage and stuff if you don't do it right.
Yeah, you also got to take into account that a lot of the strats that are being chosen right now are probably based on their safety, just because of the fact that right now, this run probably has a lot more, you know, trying to get rid of mistakes in some of the high danger levels than it is fighting for 2 and 3 seconds here and there.
This feels rough, but this is how I did it too. It's when you're going straight up like that, that's just the best you can do. That's the limit.
I think the fact that there are ledges on the sides probably means that the fastest option for a human is to try to land on the ledges and jump off from those, because then you don't fall back quite as far. It seems like it's probably pretty hard to do it optimally.
I died in that pit. That was scary. So this game is very mean about if you fall too far, you'll just take a death. So you have to be careful to get your balloon ready before you start descending. If you're already falling, you're done. You're not going to be able to save Mickey's life. He's going to hit the bottom of the screen and die. I mean, he's going to hit the bottom of the screen and tries. It's tries. There's no death in this game. Tries.
Yeah, everyone's just playing a game, and you only get a certain number of attempts.
Yeah.
That game is called life.
The game where your friend Pete kidnaps all your friends and starts a cult. That game.
This game has a lot of potential for really cool techniques. I'm looking forward to seeing the continued optimization of it.
I tell you, it was tough to play blind, but we did beat it in like an hour and a half, less than that, an hour and some change, and we had some experience going in. But 90 minutes to beat the first time isn't too bad for I've played much harder SNES games than that. It's so generous with the continues. And when I did pull off something like what we're seeing constantly here, it felt real good. It was rare, but I did pull it off once or twice. Or I'd fly through somewhere. This guy took forever. I see this is way faster than what I was doing. But you can scroll the screen here to follow him. That's a lesson I learned. Oh, it's really generous with letting you put those under him.
Yeah, it seems like you don't even have to really get it under him as he lands, just as long as you place it while he's on the ground.
There was a double hit there.
That's pretty cool.
This is a current world record as far as we know, and it is from one of the people who raced with us last Sunday.
But it is not the race itself.
No.
This was done after the race. Eric's won the race last week with a 42-13, I think.
Did you see that right there? I sort of want to rewind it. Let's actually do that.
Yeah, go for it.
I just saw what I was talking about earlier with killing with the balloon. I think it was around here. Was it? Let me just do this whole section again so I can look for that. Maybe I missaw something. Well, I'll just roll it from here.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're talking about. He did kill one of those crocodiles right there.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. I tried to do it myself. I did pull it off one time on the bats.
And you're right, that example right there, he did not let go of the balloon in order to throw it or anything like that. It was just dashing through that enemy, damage the enemy. I wonder if it's an issue of you're moving so fast that more often than not, you're going to like go inside of its hitbox, but that sometimes it'll count as a hit.
The reason I care so much is because, you know, if he could have done that to that guy right there, that would radically change for the better the entire game. The entire game would feel incredible. It would just be, I would play it all day long. If it were that fun, you would just bully these enemies with those balloon dashes. That would be wildly good.
I mean, it would probably be pretty broken if you always dealt damage with it, but it's hard to say what the setup for something like that is, if there's even something consistent. It's hard to imagine that the answer is releasing it right before you collide, because I think in the example we just looked at, he was still holding onto the balloon even past the enemy that he hit.
Yeah, I think he might have been immune to damage. Yeah, that might be a hitbox thing. I don't know if I was or not. But if that's the case, then it's useless. It was one of the first things I wondered, because
of take a death in the next area.
If we could figure out how that was happening. Taking a death here. I heard that commentary. So you do get health back at the end of the whole stage, but not until then. I wonder if it's worth picking up any of the health if that death. There is health in this. I think it's in one of these chests.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I was needing to gather that stuff, so.
He's also collecting extra lives quite often, which most of them don't seem like he's having to go out of his way for them.
This log is needed. Do you have to have it to get to the next screen?
I'm not sure. It looks like he was trying to dash past it, but when he landed in it, he just said, screw it.
Charging the balloon is one of the complaints I have about this game. I feel like I wish it was faster. I think the whole game would be a lot snappier if they had made that not take so long. So maybe sit in the log because it was too long. I can see the attack one being as long as it is, but the charge to fly one feels a little slow for what they're asking for.
I wonder if that spot that he's standing in is consistently safe, or whether or not he's just sort of hedging his bets, you know?
Wow! Maybe that's why.
Wow.
That looks dependably anti-alligator.
Yeah, I mean, if one comes near you or lands in front of you, you're gonna be safe.
It just seems really fast.
This seems like one of those games that, you know, sadly a month really isn't enough to do this game full justice. There's so many opportunities for optimizing your movement with the gas balloons, and really, Speed Bump is just to give people a taste of this game. So, if this game looks interesting to you, you know, there's a lot of potential for continuing it even after the month is over.
Yeah, this game has a lot of competition for. It's good to see Speed Bump is growing. We're looking to get that kind of competition. That makes it much more interesting when we're doing it for a whole month. If that ever felt like too long.
We had a blast with that race last week. That was exactly the sort of thing that we're looking for, and we can support even more people. So if you saw that race and thought it looked fun, we have another one next week, and we'll have a new game next month, and everyone is welcome. There's no expectation of skill. There's no you'll have to have a run on the board, or you have to be in the top 5 or something like that. No one is expecting you to come out here and... Even if you were a world record holder, we wouldn't expect you to put together an optimal run. Like, it's for fun.
We are capable of showing as many as 8 people at once in those, but I can certainly handle any number, honestly. I mean, I have a bot that sometimes works on Discord, working on that part, that manages races the same way Speedruns Live ever has, if you've ever played on that with the RC bot. That you type .join and you join some race that they set up, and you tell it when you start, you tell it when you're done, and it tells you who won. That's what our Discord bot does, basically. Typically our schedule is, that'll be the 2nd and 4th Sunday of whatever game we're doing. These guys, I'm interested to see what the strat is here, because this is where you run past a bunch of guards, isn't it?
Yep. That's in one of the rooms coming up. Is it this? It's not this one.
Oh, this is interesting.
This is a way smarter strategy.
I got stuck on this jerk.
God, I was trying to lob water balloons from a distance. That's not smart. This is smart.
Taking a couple hits, and you know what? Still taking less than I did. I took like 6 here. It certainly didn't do that fast. You don't even have to jump on the button!
Alright, I'm in love with this speedrun now.
You just ram into the button. I learned that using the balloon to go downwards, even if it's already charged, is slower than just falling. For some reason, propulsion is worse than gravity and speed. Mickey falls like a stone. Would this game be any easier if he didn't fall so heckin' fast? Because I think that also would be an adjustment that could have been made.
Yeah, something that would have made the act of climbing with a balloon a little less tedious would have made a huge difference.
Oh no.
Got hoisted by the wall. So that's not death, that only does damage here. This Kaizo room where everything is dangerous. The floor crumbles under every portrait, and every single door falls on your face. Wow, what happened there?
So one of those pits takes you to a little secret room that drops you off at the end of the room. Actually, that's how I got there in our race, accidentally. But
that's neat.
But I'm not sure that it's faster than just properly going through the room quickly. It doesn't seem like it to me, at least.
It's a really hard room for me. I don't have speedrun strats.
So, interestingly, he just said, if you could hear in the commentary, he just said he actually didn't want the health that he collected, which makes me think that we're going to see some sort of intentional death abuse coming up, which is pretty cool.
It's interesting that taking the pit dive also sets you back to the beginning of that room, even if you do it from the right side. I found that when I was running this too. Mickey's balloon puzzle.
So here's the hard one.
Yeah, I don't understand this room. You can just run past these dudes, but it's not faster than flying, so that's why flying is happening.
The question is, how does he get back consistently, or does he just death abuse?
I think, yeah, this is where he wants to die, probably, right? 1 HP, just skip this crap, and you get sent way back.
Yeah, if he had less health, that would probably be the optimal strat, but for right now, it looks like... Yeah, it looks like just running there is probably safer. Yeah, he just said in chat, if he had 1 health, the death warp is nice. Also, intentional death right there. It looks like every room has a spot it sends you back to, no matter which direction you've come from.
Trying to get ahead of the ghost on the right?
Yeah, it looks like there's probably a way for him to not have to do the stairs.
Stairs suck. You have to...
But if you touch this guy at all, you reset the room, so it looks like it's probably a fairly technical setup for getting through there.
Unfortunately is... Oh, there it is. Okay, so, like, you're racing this guy to the top is what's happening here, and it's really loud.
So many tries, it may not have even been worth it.
So you have to jump on each button here and beat the ghost to the door, which... If you know you're doing that, it's not so bad. You probably lose it the first time. And then you have to kill all these statues, which is 3 hits apiece. And when they're falling, they also do damage to you. I didn't know you could take cover under the shelf. I didn't notice.
The higher shelves you can actually hit from below with a gas balloon.
Oh man, I didn't ever figure out that you could slam balloons into them like that either. I was jumping off of the platforms, balloons, to get it.
See, I had assumed when I was playing it that it was like the momentum of hitting the shelf was hitting it, but I think it's because when you hit your head, he releases the balloon right in its face. Like it looks like more of a clip where it's clipping the balloon's hitbox through the shelf.
Okay, so what we've done in this stage, if it's unclear, is lit up 4 doorways, and now the final doorway is lit up, the exit to the house, so you get to the backyard to do some horrible jumps and then the boss fight. We're in the graveyard now. I was fighting that pink ghost for a while because I didn't realize what was going on in one of the other stages. I think that's later, though. I couldn't figure him out. I was trying to kill him in our race. Some of the details on this run were lost to me until I did it myself. This is a very precarious thing here, these jumps right here. I did manage to do something real neat and cool when it was fast, but I think it would be really hard to reproduce. Yeah, these diagonal jumps right here, that's what I did. Just really good placement for it. Just homing Ghost Pete.
He's doing all this with 1 hit point, by the way, so yeah. There you go.
Oh yeah, there are blue ghosts coming out of the pit. They're pretty nasty, and I didn't see them, so he spawned?
No. At least at one spot he had waited for them to go away, but I think he beat them, raced them on the other ones.
That's the end of Ghost Pete.
Quick level.
Here comes Teleporter Maze Space Mountain. This stage, I didn't like even a little bit. It wasn't hard, compared to the other ones. It was until you get to the tram part. I really hated that part. But the Teleporter Maze coming up ain't no good.
This stage just has a huge combination of really obnoxious stuff. Things like the Teleporter Maze being a big issue, and then on top of that, you have the tram section that constantly falls through, and there's like not a lot of good elements in this stage.
That's interesting that opened. What?
Yeah, it looked like going horizontally there counted as hitting all the buttons.
Or orbs. I went through this room twice because it's a maze. If you go up here, I'm pretty sure that's wrong. There's a splitting path after this room, and I think that the upper path just leads in a circle. But I'm not sure.
Yep.
So it's not like an obscenely hard maze. I think that's one of the only tricks it does, but why is this level is definitely Space Mountain. At least the end of it is.
Oh, 2 of the buttons just spawn enemies, so you only have to hit 1 of them to open the door. Interesting.
Oh, alright. This room.
I remembered seeing a clip of that that room we just saw, where I don't remember who the clip came from, but apparently if you lose your last bit of health as you're teleporting, when you appear on the other side, it refills your health, doesn't take a life, and you don't lose any time.
Almost done with this section. That was really the big trick, was the one path branch that's wrong. The rest of this is, I don't know about this part. I didn't have trouble with this, I might have just got lucky though. There is some more choice teleporting.
Yeah, I had some, random path issues in our race. I kept going seemingly the wrong way.
Some of these enemies are placed in just ridiculous places. Just awful.
Yeah, they almost all get an attack of opportunity on you. Just, you land and you can't recover fast enough, and they're going to get the hit. This seems like a real challenging area to do quickly, just the amount of health you might lose and the number of enemies there are.
You do have to jump on this one. Required to go through the next screen, I'm sure about that one. And this whole section is nasty. Every time there's a wooden platform, both Mickey and the tram will fall through it. So I was
they
wondering
skip a lot of this because there's a clip they can do at the end of the room.
I tried to do this myself and I couldn't pull it off because what's going on here, like I said, is pretty rough to do until you really mastered the balloon. But
So this wouldn't matter all that much if it weren't for the fact that they actually skip the last part of this stage as well, because there's a clip he'll do right here at the end of the room to hit the
nice.
There you go.
Rotating Pete is here.
So what actually happened there was using Mickey's hitbox to hit the screen transition that was below him. He didn't just walk into the screen transition. There's no screen transition at the top of the screen, but using the balloon there in that way got Mickey's hitbox to hit the screen transition, I believe.
Good stuff. That's handy.
It seems like there's a decent amount of stuff that our community's found that wasn't in the task. So this is not just trying to recreate a task, but there's been some additional things discovered.
I do like rotating Pete as the boss fight, despite how sick it makes me. I think he's the best boss in the game, probably. I don't really feel like this game has bad boss fights. They're not too bad. They're not very hard, though, except for the dragon. They're all
like this strat. I worked really hard to try to figure out how to make it underneath those spike walls consistently, and I love that the speedrun just runs right into them on purpose.
It's a hidden button over here. I got stuck on those, and I'll tell you, when you're coming up from underneath them, they almost always are blocking the way, and you can't get through, because if you take a hit, you're stunned, you're dead. You fall right back down. This room right here, I got confused. There's a hole in the ceiling, and you can find it by lighting the candles out. I was fighting the ghost for a long period of time before I realized that candles needed to be struck instead. And this room
So this looks like another room that's just saying, screw it, you got the health. Might as well damage boost through it rather than doing it right.
Yeah, it takes forever. So
I
you're supposed to
don't blame them at all.
You're supposed to throw water balloons, which I think we're going to see now, to make ice platforms. And it's just obviously slower than what was just happening.
Didn't damage boost as well as I was hoping to.
Don't have enough health to keep doing that. But that's all clear now.
Chunk of time.
That was really good.
Now we're in the big stretch 6-2 here has begun. This is a long
intentional death to refill.
Yeah, this is a long water section followed by a crummy boss fight. Worst one in the game probably, in my opinion, based on what I had played. A slow, dangerous boss. I don't feel like it's dangerous if you're trying to be safe, but you're not trying to be safe. You're trying to kill it, so it's going to be risky. That's really going to make it worse.
I found it pretty reasonable to do on low health because I was playing conservatively, but I can imagine how tough that would have been otherwise.
That hit taken right there is a lifesaver. I'm not sure if that was... I would have needed to take that hit.
I have to imagine that was on purpose. I know exactly what happens if you overshoot.
I died there like 6 times trying to get the balloon to relight while falling past those 3 who I skipped on purpose. So I feel like, yeah, that hit probably was an important one to get hit by. This thing turns on platforms, but I guess you don't need them. I had fun with these platforms. They come out of the wall. They're a little slow, though. I can see not using them if you can just rocket boost.
Oop, did despawn it.
Oh, nice. What the? How'd that happen?
Excellent.
It looks like if you go low enough, it despawned the wall.
I'll do that reliably.
That's incredible. That whole thing right there. That was amazing.
Yeah, the commentary sounds like it's suggesting that that's not a consistent thing.
This boss does 3 different dragon head positions, and only one of them you can get without jumping off of a balloon. I was trying to do that. He doesn't sit in the lower one very long. It's definitely when you're supposed to score hits. But like, I feel like you can drop a balloon and go up and get him at any point here, but it seems like he's very, very much into the idea of weaving down compared to what he was doing for me.
Wonder if there's something you could do with like an upward thrust of an air balloon, like you'd take a hit, but that might count as a hit. Like the hitbox might hit the guy.
Yeah, it looks like he wants to come down if you're down there. So that's cool. That's a way to manipulate him, it looks like. I'm not sure if it's faster than using the spring or not. The spring lets you get 2 hits, but it's also puts you right in the line of fire. That was pretty dang fast, though, and I can't say I could beat him that fast.
That was clean.
6-3. Here's where we wanted to speed through and we couldn't. That was a game changer.
Really
There's-
wanted that invulnerability hat, but
I feel like if you have this level
Missing
memorized, it's not as bad as
shot.
it looks, but it's a lot of blindness. And memorizing, it's going to be a lot of exact hits knowledge. This one is pretty open, but now that you're at this part, if you can do this technique, it's so much easier. It's already done, in fact. This took
Yeah,
so long
it
time.
seemed like the hard part there is setting up low enough to not run into any of the ceilings and feeling confident enough that you're not going to fall far all the way to the bottom. Like I think once you master that technique of managing your height properly, that's probably a really doable room.
Yeah, can't stress enough how likely it is you'll hit the bottom of the screen and die if you're not very familiar with the way the gas balloon works. It is very... If his feet touch the floor of it, he's dead. He doesn't go under it. He's just done. Here's Cultist Pete. The Druid Pete. What the hell's he doing? I appreciate the mines being used here. I wonder if you can use them on the skeletons that are marching around at this point in this.
I wonder if there would be any way to use them to like drop on the floor before he spawns on the sides. Like just put it on the floor and maybe it hits him as soon as he's able to be hit.
Yeah, so phase 3 is starting here now. He's gonna use wind to try and shove into the skeletons, and it's pretty rough to stop him doing that. That throw that was just attempted there can be done, but it's tough. That was too early, and the other one was very slightly too late, like just very slightly, so I feel like this is really hard to pull off perfectly where you would hit him before the shove. It kills the skeletons, but you still get shoved. There it is. You obviously are going for that, but man, that one's a tough one to do. The timing has to be so
Probably the last
precise.
hit.
Thankfully, you're gonna get the hits on him anyway. And time.
That's
Didn't
up.
have to start playing it safe.
Well, that's Mickey. So we've seen incredible improvement. I mean, we didn't really have a record to reference, and when we picked this up, the task doesn't mean much. But I figured it could be in the 30-minute range just by that, because most of that stuff is really inhumanly strongly done, but I think a lot of it isn't too. And it seems like we're getting there. We're starting to get some new tech and stuff too.
Yeah. This is a solid game. I'm really happy that it's already been pushed as far as it has been. It's nice to see, and I'm looking forward to a really fun race next week.
Yeah, that's right. We're doing another race next week, so if you feel like signing up again, folks, just throw it in. And this game, like most games on this show at this point, I am doing the top 3, not just number 1. So even if you don't feel like you can beat 30 minutes, that probably is not going to be what the top 3 are. I mean, in the past it hasn't been. We've had some competition though this time. Let's see how it goes. But the top 3 will all get something. They're looking for a prize. And there's a. Do we have a leaderboard for this, or we manage this, right? It's a lot
I
to manage.
think someone has requested it. One of the competitors has requested a board, so I'm keeping my hands out of this one.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. So there's a leaderboard you can put your name up on and get some speed runs going. My time is. What did we end up doing? Like 75 minutes.
Yeah, I think we
fine.
allowed for almost an hour and a half. I think we were like 120.
Yeah, and we barely made that cutoff when we did it. Not blind, but not experienced. I didn't never play before, but I sure had watched it, and you played like half of it. So, I mean, we beat it in that time frame. Pretty
Yeah,
well.
if I had stopped trying to speedrun that last room, I probably could have finished in like an hour 10.
I don't know if there's a leaderboard for Banana. There could be. I
I don't think a
manage those.
leaderboard ever went up for Banana Nababa, but we can look into that and make sure one goes up and have everyone submit their runs.
Well, that's all we got for you today, but we do have a race next week. So if you're interested in that, it's my Discord channel, just my screen name's down there in the bottom right. And game updates on the bottom left. In 2 weeks, we'll have a new game for you. Mickey will be finished. So we'll know who's won by then, and we'll be announcing a new one. Is it my turn? I think it's my turn to pick.
It'll be your turn.
Yeah, I don't really have one yet, but I'll figure it out. Thanks for joining us, folks.